Someone out there on the internet is looking for better options in black blended rum. Because Goslings is not very good, so that's what? Smuggler's Code Category 5, 6, one of those two? I don't remember. Here are two options you can look at. This one is particularly new, Worthy Park, 109. More on this in a second. And an old standby, Pussers rum, gunpowder proof. You will notice that both of these are very, very, very dark. I do think there has been quite a lot of caramel colorant in use here, but you know, we mainly care about what these things taste like, so let's not think about that too much. Okay, so why pair these two up in particular? Well, first of all, they're both very, very, very dark, but also because they're both bottled at the same proof. 54.5% alcohol by volume. That is a very interesting strength because it is, at least in the post-war period, so far as I know, the official strength for the old Navy tot. Now, that contradicts a bit of information you probably heard elsewhere. There are a lot of rums out there, Smith and Cross above others, that say Navy proof on them, and they're bottled at 57% alcohol. 57% alcohol is not, at least in the post-war period, things presumably changed over the years. That is not Navy proof. That is 100% British proof. That is proof in the British system, because that is the proof, given the right atmospheric conditions and so forth, that alcohol will light on fire. Now, if you think about this, it would be a bad idea to put rum on a ship, a wooden ship, at flammable strength. You would want to have your rum pretty darn strong because you can save on storage space, right? Just a little bit south of where you have basically firearms sitting around below decks. I'm sorry, firebombs, not firearms. So, you know, 54.5%, which I think is, what, 5 degrees below proof in the British system, that checks that bill pretty well. Anyway, so neither of these will light on fire. And you may ask me, by the way, but Scott, if all of what you said is the case, why is Pussers still calling their rum here gunpowder proof when it is not? Why are they still going through on the back label this ridiculous story about the purser or pusser running around lighting the rum rations on fire using gunpowder? I don't know. Direct all questions to them. I don't know. I don't know. Advertising is beyond my ken. Anyhow, so what's the story with these two? So Worthy Park, 109, of course, is all pot still from Worthy Park Distillery in Jamaica. They only make pot distillate. Now, the interesting thing here is that some of this is unaged and some of it is aged. They're not telling us what the components are, the percentages, but there is unaged stuff in this. The Pussers, on the other hand, is all Guyana. So you're presumably getting some fun wooden still stuff here. And it is aged for a minimum of 3 years in charred oak bourbon barrels. So possibly this is using actually less caramel color because they're, I'm guessing there's a lot of decharring, recharring going on. Anyway, so let's just get this. Oh, one last thing about the Pussers. This is lightly, I shouldn't say dosed, because dosed is a champagne term. It's not even really used in cognac. It's really the Ferrand plantation people who seem to be responsible for the use of dosage as a term in rum. So I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to say added sugar. There is some added sugar in this. Not very much. I think it's 6-8 grams, something like that, but it's there. So we shall see how that affects this. All right, here we go. Enough of my yapping. Let's get some tasting notes on the table. Pusser's gunpowder proof rum from Guyana. Of course, the original version of this would have been, older versions of this would be a blend of different places, but right now it's all Guyana. 3-ish years old, probably bottled 2021. and 54.5% alcohol. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my notes here. On the nose. I mean, so before I tried this, my go-to favorite for strong ass Guyana rum was the Hamilton 151, which has basically one note, and that note is smoked toffee. This definitely is showing like that kind of like hang a block of toffee in like a smokehouse for a week. It's definitely showing a little bit of that. But there's way more going on in this on the nose, actually. It's quite savory. Teriyaki sauce. So, but like really heavy teriyaki sauce, where you're using like the really serious soy sauce rather than the wimpy Kikkoman stuff. There's a little bit of a cola note, but it's like almost like burned Coca-Cola, like or like boiled down Coke. It's really savory. Sherry vinegar, like sautéed onions. So like onions sautéed in sherry vinegar. Herbs, like herbs de Provence. There's actually little touches of rubber in here, so we're getting a little Coroni love happening. Some tobacco, like a burley flake, like greenish, nutty tobacco. Some coffee, like cold brew coffee. It's nice. It's a surprisingly complex nose. I mean, given the price point and the age and presumably the added sugar. All right, let's see what happens on the palate. This is where things might go wrong. Not so much, actually. Surprisingly, okay, so the sugar feels a little bit. There's a hair bit of syrupiness happening here, but it's actually balanced off very well by, again, all those really kind of savory elements. I'll try this again. Okay, let me try to wrap my head around this. Yeah, again, kind of a smoked toffee sort of note, but it's really kind of just part of a much larger ensemble. Smoked anchovies, rubber, more rubber, burning rubber, boiled down Coke again, and you've sauteed some onions in it. Soy sauce, parsley, basil, chicken bouillon, burley tobacco, more burley, cider vinegar, yeah, like apple cider vinegar, some like French roast coffee, like coffee grounds, like freshly ground coffee, a lot of black pepper, especially coming on the back end. This is actually really nice. I mean, in principle, do I object to the addition of sugar in this? Yeah. Would it maybe be a little bit better without it? Yeah, maybe. I don't. But it's really not bugging me. To be totally honest, it just isn't. I'm still a little worried that when I add water to this, it'll start to come out. But yeah, this is good. Here's the thing. Let me put this in wine terms. So I love dessert wine, but the thing, I mean, I have a sweet tooth, right? But what makes the great dessert wines of the world work is that there's stuff going on in them beyond the sugar that balances off the sugar, right? So think like Tokai. It's really sweet, but it has ripping acidity that balances off the sweetness. Same thing with a lot of dessert Rieslings. Port, like proper vintage Porto, not the stuff they're using to wash out Angel's Envy casks. Proper vintage Porto has tannins and structure that are face melting. Sauterne, acidity again, but like the aromatics are weird and funky, especially as they get older. And all of that provides balance that makes, the sugar, that puts the sugar in relief, that makes the whole affair work better. That's kind of what's going on in here. It's not anywhere near as sweet as that even, but the other elements in this, the crazy chicken bouillon soy sauce thing happening here, is totally like, it's making me forget about the dosage, the added sugar. I'm sorry. I just noticed, well, two things. First of all, the Worthy Park is way darker than the Pussers, but also I just poured way more Worthy Park than I did Pussers, so I'm going to correct that before I add more water. A little bit more. All right. And put some water in this, and we'll come back to it, see how it reacts. What I'm really scared of is that the sugar just comes out and dominates. 2, 3. I'm guessing this won't need more than 4. Let's see. One more squirt. All right. Let's move on to the Worthy Park. So this is a mix of different marks and aged and unaged rum. They're not telling you how much, but there is a lot of color in that. And I'm guessing not a lot of that is from the casks. They may have been a little bit generous with the E150. Okay. This is a liter bottle, by the way, which is kind of cool. All right, Worthy Park 109 Jamaica rum, all 100% pot distilled, 2021. I'm assuming, and 54.5% alcohol. Now, at least on paper, this should beat out the Pussers, just because like this is all pot still, right? And it's doing this sort of blend of aged and unaged thing that I like in other rums. So, also a good nose, very different nose. So it's got the one note which I associate most of all with Worthy Park, which is Turkish delight, like candied rose water, basically. That's way up front, and then we're getting used coffee grinds, like lots of coffee notes. White pepper, a little reduced. It's balsamic vinegar this time, balsamico. Olives, brine, a lot more olivey, briny stuff in this than the Pussers. Touch of like, again, there's cola here, but it's more cola candies. The little candies that look like soda bottles, those things. It's actually, so beyond that, it's actually kind of muted. I mean, I can tell it's pot distilled, but it's actually, on the nose, more subdued than I was expecting. Huh. I'm not even getting really any overtly oaky notes. Maybe a hint of, like, maybe just those cola notes. But even that, it could be more pot still than oak. Huh. Okay. Let's see what happens on the palate. Interesting. This, I don't know if there's any added sugar in this, but it does act on the palate come off phenomenologically, let's say, as more sweet than the Pussers. Let me try that one more time. It gets, on the back end, it gets very kind of peppery and ashy in a way I'm not completely happy with, but there's a lot here I do like. I mean, it's really simple, but it's also basically solid in its construction. Turkish delight, RC cola, a couple of olives, like a little bit of fennel, like one fennel seed. and then that's mostly it, kind of at the front end and the mid palate, and then like once you're transitioning it into the finish, like you really get a lot of ash and a lot of black pepper. It gets very kind of bitter, slightly astringent on the back end, and I can't tell if that's just a lot of like recharred cask or like the caramel, the enormous amount of caramel colorant or what. It gets kind of ashtray-ish, but not that nice. I like it better than Goslings, definitely. But I will say, at this point, for me, the Pussers is actually winning this, which I was not expecting going in. But, you know, there we are. A couple of squirts of water in this. I'm going to go with 4 again. See if that's enough. Yeah, I'm not sure what that kind of sense of sweetness, the kind of syrupy character is there. I don't think it's wood. But it also doesn't feel like... It doesn't feel like they dumped a whole bunch of simple syrup in here either. Huh, interesting. All right, let's go back through these one more time. See what happens. I'm really scared for the Pussers right now because I was really kind of digging this while I was drinking it neat. So this is like crash and burn. I'm going to be sad. All right, here we go. On the nose. Huh. On the nose, this actually gets more fruity with water. It's still really savory. Like the fruit is like, I don't know, like brined pickled prunes or something like that. But it's kind of there. There's a little bit of prune, a little bit of date, raisin. But it's still mostly doing the same kind of savory, you know, super soy sauce teriyaki, you know, vinegary, rubbery, boiled down Coca-Cola thing it was doing before. And I'm into that. I'm really enjoying that. All right, let's see what happens on the palate. Here we go. Not a ton of development on this. It gets a little bit more peppery on the back end. Although I'm enjoying the pepper a little bit more than I was on the Worthy Park. We'll see what happens with the Worthy Park. Yeah, this is just a good rum. It's a very, very savory rum. Like the and actually I'm amazed I'm saying this. I do like it more than the Hamilton 151. I don't know if I like it more than the so-called Navy strength, the 114, but this is good. Like this is, I think that's the advantage of just having a lot of age on this. Like, you know, in the tropics, 3+ years is nothing to slouch at. Yeah, like take some really thick boiled down chicken broth, dump a lot of soy in there, some smoked anchovies, a little toffee, touch of molasses even, a little Coca-Cola. That's kind of what you got with this, and it's really nice. And the sugar, which I was a little scared of, it still ain't bugging me. Like, I'm sold on this. This is really, really good stuff, actually. For the price point, and within the category of like higher strength aged rum, which is a tough category, you know, south of $40. Yeah, I'm gonna give this 84 points. This is really, really solid. You know, that's too miserly. I'm gonna give this an 84 plus. There's a lot of class going on in this. 84 plus. on a philosophical level, I'm still opposed to the sugar, but I can't argue with what they got here. All right, moving on. Back to the Worthy Park 109. See what this has got. Now that I've added some water to it. On the nose, a little bit of cherry coming through now. Maybe one vanilla bean. Maybe that's the oaky element in this. It's not very pronounced. It's kind of coming through more as cherry Coke than anything else. And a little bit more black olive as well. It's very Worthy Park. It's just a little bit rudimentary in that. Okay. Here we go, on the palate. Again, okay, there's a little bit of development, but it's in a direction I don't like. The pepperiness and the kind of ashtray nature of the finish comes up with a little bit of water. And otherwise, we're still basically on that same set of flavors. It's definitely pot still rum. And it's definitely Worthy Park. I'm still getting the Turkish Delight, the olive, the fennel, all that good stuff. But I mean, it's just the finish feels a little bit awkward. It's solid, but I don't know. This somehow feels like it should be more than it is. I don't know, man. Is it better than Goslings? Yes, it is, and that's what you came here to find out. So I'm telling you right now, this is way better in that role. But I don't know. I'm really hot. Well, I was going to say hot and cold. It's been mostly cold on official bottlings from Worthy Park recently. I love the distillery. I know the kind of magic they can produce. And some of that even comes through in their official bottlings. The Rum Bar series, the Overproof, is phenomenal. Go buy it. Go buy the Rum Bar Overproof. The Rum Bar Gold. I wish it wasn't 40%, but it's really good. In fact, if I were making right now, if I were forced to make just a base for cheapo Mai Tais, I would be doing. I might adjust it, but basically half this, half the Pussers Gunpowder, and half Worthy Park Gold. That would be my go-to cheapo Mai Tai blend. But this, and a lot of their other official releases, isn't doing it for me as much as I want them to. It's okay. It's bordering on good, but it's just pulled back a little bit by too much bitterness and astringency in the finish. And maybe that's the caramel. Maybe they just added way too much caramel to it. Look at this. I don't know. 83 minus. I'm going to give 83 minus the Worthy Park here. It's actually not that far behind, but the Pussers wins this time, which I was not expecting. So 84 plus for the Pussers Gunpowder, and 83 minus for the Worthy Park 109. Thanks for watching, and hope this is informative, and cheers.